everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I will be talking about the 9-pan eyeshadow palette from Chanel this holiday season. I'm going to be creating 3 different looks using this palette, showing you how I use it for an everyday type of look all the way to a beautiful smoky eye look. So let me show you some swatches, how this palette performs, as well as if it is worth your money. Over the past few years, Chanel has surprised us with some large highlighter palettes. As you can see, I have barely touched these. I feel like no one really needs a highlighters this large. Yes, they're so pretty to look at, and honestly, that's the appeal and why we purchase them, but otherwise, they really are not necessary. This year, instead of creating a large highlighter palette, Chanel decided to create 3 different palettes that are also large, but include 9 different eyeshadows. We have 3 different eyeshadow palettes in total, and I decided that I will only be choosing one this year because these are shades that you won't technically be using often. I was undecided between 2 palettes, one of which is this one here. This one has a beautiful pink shade. The blue shade is also gorgeous in here, but for the most part, I feel like it is very similar to the second palette I'm about to show you. The palette that I ended up choosing is this palette here. This one is called the Daring Muse, and I ended up choosing this palette because for the most part, I preferred these shades. I felt that also the colors in here were very vibrant, and I did want to challenge myself with different looks and show you how I would personally use this palette. So this is the palette that I ended up choosing. The palette that was my least favorite is this one here, and this one has some very unusual yellow tones. I was not too impressed with this palette, and I immediately knew that I was not going to purchase this. The best shade out of this palette would have to be the lilac shade. I think that shade is gorgeous, but for the most part, I felt like this palette has mostly matte shades, so if you don't really like a lot of shimmer, then this would be the palette for you. But personally, I felt the other 2 palettes were definitely more worth it in my opinion. Now for the palette that I did choose. So I did swatch these in natural sunlight, and these swatch so smoothly. They are pigmented, but it's a type of pigment that you wouldn't be fearful of. So if you feel very intimidated, especially by color, but you still wanted something that's more vibrant for the holiday season, then I think that these palettes would be your best bet because you can layer these on for a more pigmented look, or you can sheer them out and they blend in so buttery soft. They really are so easy to use. This particular palette includes 2 matte shades, one in a very pretty terracotta, and the other one has more of a reddish type of tone. I really love both shades, particularly the terracotta shade. I think this is a perfect transition shade. I think it would go with each and every single look that you would create with this particular palette, and it can also be used for an everyday type of look. At first glance, you might think that this palette is way too colorful, but if you really look closely, other than the 3 shades in the middle, the top and bottom shades are not vibrant at all. You'll notice a terracotta, a black, silver, as well as gold shades, but for the most part, this can really be used as a more neutral, shimmery palette. And this is another reason why I chose this particular palette, because for the most part, you can use this year round. Yes, it does have a lot of shimmer in it, but I feel like the shimmer is beautiful. They are creamy. The shimmer seems to be deposited in a gel-like texture because they are quite smooth. You don't see any large glitters per se in here. So I personally prefer this kind of formula over a very high texture type of glitter look. So overall, I really am enjoying kind of how they swatch, how they blend on the eyes. I did create 3 different looks using this palette, one that is very wearable, and then a smoky look, as well as something that is more intense in color. This palette retails for $160 each, so fairly expensive for an eyeshadow palette. So if you are someone that does not like colored eyeshadows, or you definitely don't like too much shimmer, then I would say definitely pass up on this entire collection. If, however, you enjoy shimmer shades, you enjoy creating different different eye looks, especially during the holiday season, and you are not intimidated by color, then I definitely would highly recommend any of these palettes. I've been reading your comments about this collection, and a lot of you are very intimidated by color tones and you feel like these are just not wearable at all. So I did create some looks that are more wearable, and you are going to be fairly surprised, especially by these three shades right over here. I'm starting off by picking up the shade here, and I am using this as my transition shade. I think this is the perfect transition shade. It is matte, and it's just the perfect shade to start off your look. Now that I have my transition shade, I'm picking up the champagne gold shade, and I'm just going to apply this all over my eyelid. Now let's build this up and smoke this look out. So I am grabbing this beautiful black shade here. This has some silver sparkle in there. I want to go ahead and smoke the outer corner. Picking up a smaller fluffy brush, I am just going to go ahead and blend that in. So that's the black shade. I'm just going to go back into this champagne gold and then top it up. This can also be a look in and of itself. Even though it has that smoky factor in it, it is still very wearable, nothing too intense. And I think this is really perfect for an evening out. Now let's build onto that look and let's get into some color. Picking up this flat brush from Dior, I'm going into this green shade. And I just want to go ahead and smudge this right on the bottom. Using this flat, fluffy brush, I'm going in and blending that out. Now going into the shade here, I am going to pop this into the inner corner. Look at how beautiful that is. I love that shimmer. Now I want to pick up this gold here, and I just want to pop a little bit of this right in the middle. Just a tiny little bit to give that gold shift. So this is the first look all done. I just added a winged black liner as well as some mascara. You can easily add a pop of color while keeping your eyes nice and neutral with just a little bit of sparkle that is perfect for the holiday season. And you can really do this with the blue shade as well. Just pop that underneath your eye instead of the green. So either one would work. But how pretty did this look come out? Now let me show you a second look. So I went ahead and removed the green shade and pretty much kept the top half of my eye the way it is. So the next step that I would do is I would grab this blue shade and then pat that in. And these shades are so easy to layer that you can easily go from one eye look to the next. And then I'm picking up the black shade again, and I just want to go ahead and line the bottom half of my eye just to make the look a little bit more smoky. Now I'm picking up the same shade that I did previously. This one has a little bit of a blue shift in it, so it's going to look perfect with this look. And then just patting that in to the inner corner, and look at that. How gorgeous is that? And just like that, we have a second look using the blue shade in this palette. And how gorgeous is this look? So easy to do. These shades are very easy to build up. And the blue shade is very flattering, especially for those of you that have brown eyes like I do. You will love this shade. And I feel like it creates a very beautiful smoky blue eye look. I especially love the shade here with the blue because it does have that blue-like shimmer in there, and it just looks gorgeous on top of the blue shade in this palette. I removed the last eye look, so now let's create another look. So I am actually going back into the shade here. This really is a perfect transition shade. Next, I'm picking up the shade here, and I just want to wing this out to start with. Now going in with a flat brush, I'm just going to go ahead and pack the shade on. Next, I want to create a cut crease. So I am grabbing my concealer and just adding a little bit of that into the inner corner. And then using a small flat brush, I just want to blend this out and just keep it onto the inner corner, just like so. Now grabbing this silver shade, I just want to apply this into the inner corner. Just to give that glow-like effect. Next, I'm picking up this gold shade, and I just want to add this in the middle, just as a nice transition between the silver and the first shade that I used. Using this flat brush, I am going into the black shade and just starting off by creating a wing and just smudging this right on the bottom. Next, I'm going to add a black liner. I love this black liner by Victoria Beckham. They are so easy to use. Once I have my black liner, I'm going back into this black shade and then just going over that black liner again, just to make it a little bit more intense and also to give it that little bit of sparkle. That's the third look that I created with this palette. What are your thoughts? Which one is your favorite look? Definitely leave me a comment below. But I do think that this particular look is also very wearable if you want just a little bit of color. I feel like this is the perfect amount of color without going overboard, and it would easily go with so many different outfits. And those are the looks that I created using Chanel's new 9-pan holiday collection. What are your thoughts? What do you think about this look? Did this change your mind entirely about this palette, or did it ground you into not purchasing any of these palettes at all? My purpose for any of my reviews is for you to really make a more informed decision as to whether or not these palettes are worth it, because they are a lot of money. I personally love makeup, so for me, I love sharing my thoughts about palettes, and ultimately, it's up to you to decide whether or not this is going to be worth it for you. But again, if you feel that these are the kind of shades that you will just not wear, you don't like a lot of shimmer in your eyeshadows, then I would say definitely skip this collection. And that concludes my review of Chanel's holiday collection this year. This was such a fun collection. I do feel that this collection won't be for everyone though. I feel like it does have a lot of color. So for those of you that don't like a lot of color or shimmer, then perhaps this is a collection that you will pass up on. I feel like out of these two palettes, this one is my favorite. I really love this quad. I feel like the shades are beautiful. I love those plum, lilac, purple, and even the blue tones in here. I love the subtle shimmer as well. You can easily use 1, 2, or even all 4 shades at once, and I feel that it does create a very beautiful holiday look. Do you think that this palette is more of a collector's item rather than something that you really need in your collection? It can be an easy pass, and I don't think that you will be missing out on anything. It is really nice to have in your collection as something different, but personally, I would not pick up all 3 of them because I just feel like you're not going to get as much use out of it. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, and hit that notification bell to get notified when I upload new videos. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed Chanel's holiday collection this year. And if you are interested in any more of my videos, I will leave a couple more right here for you. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video.